Alright guys, I'm doing a timing belt and water pump job on a Toyota Corolla 1991 4FE engine. Now I guess there's two different sizes. I shouldn't say two different, but there's two different model engines they made. I think one is for front drive and one is for, I guess, all-wheel drive. And I have the front drive edition, I believe. I bought my parts, obviously. Don't have a lot of money, but I bought them off eBay. Everything I seem to buy off there has worked pretty good. I bought this whole kit, timing belt, water pump, and the idle tensioner pulley for about 50 bucks, which it isn't bad because I went to AutoZone and Advanced AutoZone, which is here in Florida, and timing belt alone was going to be like 20 something dollars, and the water pump was going to be like 40 something in about both places. So I saved a few bucks doing it the eBay way. And I mean, if you look, the parts look pretty good, pretty solid. This water pump feels pretty good, feels really solid. It's made out of good steel. um Here's the old, this is actually something else, but this is the idle tensioner right here on the, as you see, that's the spring hole, and right there, that's the bolt hole right there. Here's my old timing belt. I was driving around for a while. These cars are really cool. Here's a rip right there. And I was actually driving around like that for a while. I was really scared. I didn't have the money to buy the parts, but I ended up getting the money. But you can see right there, it's already halfway gone. It's already halfway chewed. The reason why I say that, these cars are really solid. Real solid. Um, Obviously you can see I'm at my mom's house. She lives in a mobile home. Okay. Anyways, as you can see, I gave you a few tips here that I've learned from just watching the YouTube videos. You gotta start on the alternator. There's a tensioner bolt right here, as you can see, which gives that loosens that belt, your regular belt. And there's a screw right there to tighten it. Before you start, I advise you to make a little mark. I made a little mark right here, as you can see where my thumb is, where that's where it originally was when I first bought the car, before I took it off actually. So just make the smart thing, always make little marks, little hints here and there, so you don't, so you're trying to guess to see if you know, if you're giving it too much tension, if it's not enough tension. But you can see that's where it was, it's right about there. That's what I just got a flat, and I just kind of scraped it just a little there, you know, just leave some few marks there. um Very important, before before you start taking things apart, you have to take the number one cylinder off, the spark plug. And the reason being is you have to make sure that that piston is TDC, which is top dead center. You have to make sure it's a top dead center, because if something goes wrong and if you hit this pulley, the camshaft or something, and if it's not aligned right or something happens, that this car will not turn on. The timing will be screwed up on a car, and you don't want to go through that. To tighten everything up, and then to see that the car is not, you know, it's not turning on, and you got to take this and this off. So here's my, this is what I did. This is one of those little magnet things you could buy. They're real cheap. I bought this one for like a couple dollars. I think it was like $2 at Harbor Freight. Good kind of work. Just stick it all the way down there. It'll drop. As you can see, it doesn't go anymore. That tells me that the piston is as high as it goes. You gotta kind of play with it. See, let me see if you can see here. Sorry, you see that hole right there? There's a pin mark in the back of that. If you could get a screw or something, and you could feel the groove back there, you'll feel it sink. That's a top dead center right there. That means that is these. I think, I don't know how, if the valves are open or closed, whatever. That's right. That, and as you can see, that somebody obviously did a previous timing job there, and there's a little little thing right here, as you can see. It's like this little thing where my thumb is. You'll see it if you do it on your car. You got to make sure that this is lining up with this, obviously. I mean, whoever did this did this. This is a previous timing job here. So I'm guessing this is top dead center. Whoever did that, I kind of lucked out there. But yeah, that's that. Nothing really hard about doing this job. This is an easier car. Next thing, since it's up to you guys, you could do the water pump job. I'm doing it, just be on the safe side because I obviously ordered the part. For the power steering, there's also a tensioner bolt right here, as you can see, which is right there. And you gotta slide it all the way down here to pop that belt off and then put it all the way back. Obviously, this one you really don't need to make a mark because it's pretty self. There's not that much space here like there is here, which that belt hangs a little loose, which is not bad. So that's pretty easy. Here's my new belt. I obviously learned that there is a pattern with this, I believe, since since everything is spinning clockwise, you want to make sure you don't put the belt like this. You want to make sure you put it like this so it's spinning clockwise. As you can see with my fingers, because I believe I was doing a little bit of research. I don't know if it makes a whole big difference here, but I just to be on the safe side, I guess that's the right way of putting a timing belt on. So you want to make sure you go clockwise. And if you're not sure where clockwise is, just get in the car or have somebody get in the car real quick and just take this timing belt cover off, which is just 2 bolts. Pretty easy. 2 bolts there and 1 bolt there. And just have somebody crank the car on real quick and you'll see it. It'll spin that way. It'll like a clock. Okay? As you can see, I do need a new radiator. I bought this car for $500 and it runs smooth. It needs a little bit of work, of course. For $500, you can't complain. I need to get some shocks for it, but here and there, little by little, I'm getting it all done. Oh, one more thing. When I ordered this off eBay, it also came with a valve cover gasket, and it came with all the seals, spark plug seals and all that, which I thought that was really, really cool. Yeah, because those things normally they're about 20, 25, depending on the car. I see them on Kias as much as $60, $70, which I think it's crazy. That's if you go to an auto parts store. But I mean, that all came together for $50. I was just like, wow, when I took this one, I'm thinking somebody did a previous job on this car, and just, I don't know, they didn't seem to do it right or something. Because both of these, as you can see, the numbers on the top and the bottom, they match up with the top and bottom here. But not a biggie. I'll fix it. It's nothing hard. I mean, this car's fairly simple. It's like working on a lawnmower. Tip, guys. Alright, you're probably gonna see how I got the crankshaft pulley, the crankshaft pulley off, the crankshaft pulley bolt off. Wasn't that hard, to be honest. I don't have an air compressor tool, and I really don't have all the tools to take this thing off. But this thing actually came off. I did some research on how to take them off, if there was such thing as taking them off easier. And I see Scotty Kilmer's his YouTube video, and he shows you that you can take it off by latching, a breaker bar. This is an 11/16 socket, and kind of hooking it on there and locking it, because the crankshaft spins clockwise, and if you lock it behind the mount right here, and you lock it right here, and it's gonna spin, so you know what I mean, it's gonna push this backwards, and it actually unlocked it, and I was extremely pleased to say I just gave it a turn. You don't have to turn the car on. I repeat, do not Don't, if you have an automatic starter on your car, please do not follow. Don't do that, okay? Because you will screw something up. You will break that bar or break the bolt. Please, I repeat, if you have an automatic start, please don't do it. I don't know if people have tried them like that, but I mean, common sense says you don't want that. But when I did that, it only took a quick turn. It poop, quick turn, and you heard it. The bar slam. It didn't slam a lot. It just you heard it. It made contact with the metals. Not that loud, and it stopped. It was weird, and I'm like, okay. Came back out, and I was like, oh, okay. That was easy enough. I took the bar off, and there the bolt came. I mean, the only other thing, guys, I suggest too, um, what was I lost my train of thought here. Sorry, this is really, really, really messy here. Crankshaft bolt right here, as you can see. I gotta go get a wire brush. It's always good to clean these things. You see all the rust and stuff there? I wish I could show you a little better. But all the rust here, stuff like this, it's not a big deal. Most people would just throw a little bit of. You don't really want to actually throw any oil on here because you want this bolt to make sure it's locked, because this bolt right here is taking a lot of torque, a lot of oh crap, sorry, a lot of power. So you want to make sure you don't want to put any. There's that lock thread stuff you can do. I mean, if you feel if you know the car's not like. I mean, obviously this car, once I do the time, I don't think it's ever going to go for a while. I mean, who knows? I had somebody tell me that this car might outlast me, and I'd be able to pass it to my grandchildren. I don't know. I was laughing about it because these cars are really popular. They're really, really good. This car does not burn any oil. I was really surprised when I bought it. It doesn't. It has the oil pan has definitely a leak there, and as you can see, the engine does sweat oil. But anyways, that screw right there, you want to make sure clean it up. You don't want to cross thread the thread inside of there, because when I looked in there, the threads are real small. They're real fine.
Found a nice place on Santa Barbara.
Okay. I want this. I was doing a YouTube video for the thing. Okay. So this thing is really cool here. I bought it at the Craftsman store in Sears. Really, 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 I advise you to buy this. This thing is awesome. I don't know how many times this thing's saved my butt. This is I believe they call it. I kind of broke the tooth right there. I don't. It still works really damn good. I spent like $45. This thing is a Sorry, I should probably put the camera this way. This thing is what they call a chaser. Uh oh. I think the dogs ate the poop again. Cat poop. Damn dogs. Alright guys, this is a what they call a chaser. It's a really interesting tool. If you guys have ever taken the screw out or dropped the screw, some screws and the threads bend threads will bend. This thing will actually fix. It'll make a new thread, an exact thread. It doesn't make it thread. It just it chases out the old one. If you get what I mean, like it sits on a groove and you just spin it, and all it does is make a new one, and it cleans all the crud out of the grooves on the bolts. So this thing is really good for chasing, like if you're using the same head bolts on a car when you're doing a head gasket job. This thing is really good. This thing would clean out the head bolts on an engine job I did, and it's really damn. If I could, let me see if I can try to. If you see, it goes here, and as you see how it sits in there and it grooves real good. And all you gotta do is spin that bolt. I mean, you don't have to tighten this thing a whole tight, just nice enough. and just spin it. That's all you have to do. If you want to put a little socket and hold it, just spin it and spin it, and it cleans out the thread. It's awesome. And if you want to do an extra good job, if you have one of these Ryobi things or whichever ones they make, little sharpening tool, you can get a wire brush right here. Take and get a wire brush, and they clean. And if you don't have one of those, and if you have one of these, that works just as good. You just get a wire brush right here and kind of fix it. It's these things are not that expensive. I think I paid $40 for it, $30. I mean, I don't use it a whole lot, but those things last forever. Yeah, I think that was it. So as you see, it's leaking a little already because I'm in the process of taking the water pump out. But as you can see, it's not all that hard. It's simple. Nothing. I mean, I never went to school for mechanics or anything. I just read a lot of YouTube videos that it had. Best place to go is a junkyard. Learn how to do. You want to take something apart, go to the junkyard. I know it's hot. Down here it's hard as hell, but you know what? You learn a lot from taking a car apart. And here's obviously the water pump. I will make a side video on it. I'm removing well, I guess I could add it on here. There's a bunch of bolts, a couple bolts. I think there's 6 bolts here throughout. There's 2 different sizes. One is 10 and one is 12. 12, and you can notice that the holes are smaller, so that those are 10. I believe those are 10 millimeters. Sorry, metric. So it's a Japanese car, so they use metric. Not much to that, I guess. And just remember, if you're starting a job, be careful. I advise you, if you're not confident, do more research. I mean, this car, like I said, is fairly easy. Fairly easy. There's really nothing much to it. I bought some HIDs, but not much to it. And just make sure, remember, if you're getting ready to make sure your gears are all timed. Make sure your valve. Make sure that the piston is everything is timed. And make sure that number 1 cylinder right here is top dead center. Believe me, you run into a problem like that, you put everything back together, and come to find out it's not timed and it isn't turning on, or it turns on and it's running like crap and it turns off. You're not gonna be a happy camper. If you have any questions, just send me a thing on YouTube, send me a comment, and I'll help you as best as I could. Thank you. And I will put up. I'll fin when a job is done. I will make another video. Thanks.